sure?
Yeah.
If it's not, it's your fault. It's all my names. It's all my
Didn't even double check.
names. Triple check. Sure you're on camera there?
Yeah, right.
Making me doubt myself.
That's for it. We're all okay. Damn
It's funny, I can just start whenever then, can't I?
It's your battery.
It's my battery, my mics, my tripod, your office.
My office.
He's provided the beer, so hold on.
That's how I provide it. It's fine.
Fucking, I look like an alcoholic having a beer on the street. Put that back there. Alright, everyone good?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the RBNY UK podcast. And yes, we're in person again. I've sadly got to sit next to this fellow, and we've got a very special guest. So, first of all, Luke, how are we doing?
Not bad. How many weeks? Been 3 weeks?
A loss, a win, and a draw. Sound like that?
Not perfect.
A good refereeing performance. By the way, I will like to say, anyone who was following the Twitter feed, it was me. I do have a bit of an agenda against the referees, but he was horrific, and we will talk about him.
I was camping, so I wasn't watching the game. I was camping, freezing cold,
camping.
muddy, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so not a bit like the ref. But we are welcome a very special guest flown all the way. I would say he's flown over from the States just for the podcast. Actually, we might as well just say that because no one else is going to know. But Eric, welcome along to the RBNY UK podcast. You can take the mic with us. But welcome to the UK and welcome to London, more especially.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the hospitality at this beautiful place.
And we've got to start straight away. You've timed it right with Apple TV because you can actually guarantee to watch the Red Bulls game whenever you want, not even just live, but whenever you want.
I think people may think I'm like a shill for Apple, and while my parents do have some stock in Apple, I am not a shill. I just think it's actually a really solid service, and the price is pretty solid too. I don't know how much y'all pay, but for me it was $79, and when I did the math out, that's like $650 a month in US dollars. So I don't think you can really complain where you can watch, like I can come to England and I turned it on and watch till 2 a.m. like you guys do every week, which is crazy. And then I still have to figure out the MLS Next Pro. I don't think I could watch the replay of that yet, but things are working. I really like the MLS 360 show. I catch that pretty much every week, and I listen to Extra Time now, so I'm really becoming a big MLS shell this season.
Yeah, but that's what I say. It's made it easier, not just for obviously everyone in the States. Obviously, people are pro and against Apple, but for us, especially in Europe, it's a lot easier rather than watching it through certain streaming platforms that we're not allowed to mention because in case someone's watching this. But Apple has saved us a lot, unless, Luke, you're in a forest camping and missing the Red Bulls game. So are you going to apologise to the franchise for not watching this game? And it's only me who's watched every Red Bulls game.
Yeah, sorry, I was camping with my scouts in a forest and it poured down with rain. I'll be honest, I was fast asleep by 11 o'clock because they shut the hell out of me. Sorry, I will aim to do better. Yeah. In the future, I'll try and arrange my camps.
Yeah, please do.
Arrange a ball game. That's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah, you've got pre-season, then you've got when there's no game. So
that could work.
Yeah. Well, we might as well.
I mean, I can't blame you. I missed. Well, I watched last week's game against Charlotte. I missed the game before that, so I was out working on a marathon until on the Saturday. I just missed it, and I wanted to get to bed early, and then I just never even watched the replay. I don't think I even saw the highlights. I saw the 2 goals. I was like, Bears, we won. I'm moving on. I don't need to watch the replay.
Yeah, I was going to say when I was watching the snow game, that was probably the most painful experience I've ever had in my life watching a game of football. It was, what time did it start? 12:30 here, so I'm already half asleep, and I could barely see the ball, and I could barely see the players, and I actually considered what I was doing with my life. Still watched it, and then I slept very well. But, obviously, might as well talk about the season so far, because we've obviously missed a few games. But starting with you, Luke, so far, how are you finding the season, and how miserable are you as a Red Bulls fan already?
I'm not too miserable. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, the most optimistic person in the world.
I'm pretty optimistic as it goes. It could be better. I will say that. Week count the weekend. I know we didn't have a good rep for it. We did not play well. Not play well at all. Basically, both goals for both teams, like our goal and their goal, basically 2 goals given away by poor performances. Like neither, they were really poor. We are better where we are. I believe that, but it's not a great opening start to the season, and big question marks over Gareth Struber. This is his team now. He's got no excuses anymore. Last year he had disputes and weren't ready. Now this season he's got to perform. He's got his player. He got a record signing now. What excuse does he have left now? That's my take.
Yeah, there really is none when it comes to Gerhard Struber. I think the narrative last year, a lot of people were kind of over him. There was a little bit of a stemming, like kind of a rising tide of people who were like, I don't know, maybe he's not the guy. But the team gave him another year. Like there was no sacking. There was no, despite some calls from fans, he was back. And we all knew he was back. But it was like, okay, you got a big striker. That's what you said was the issue. You got a player. You got multiple strikers. You got Corey Burke. You got Van Zier. You got Manuel back. You also got one thing he really complained about. He didn't have continuity year over year. There were so many players out last year, so many players in the year before. Like he got continuity this year. A couple sprinkled new signings in. Yeah. Only player lost was Aaron Long, and I don't think defense has been the issue really. It's been the offense, and that's been a problem for pretty much his entire tenure. So I came into the season very positive. I went to preseason. I was liking the ideas I saw, and I'm now at the point where like I don't know where those ideas went. Like a lot of that stuff, like some of the patterns, some of the movements were like they weren't quite connecting in preseason. They weren't like winning 5-0 in preseason. But I saw ideas. I was like, okay, you start applying those to the regular season and doing some of the same ideas, and it seemed like they got to the regular season and things reverted right back to like that what we saw at the end of last season, which was long balls and individuals trying to do it all instead of like playing a team game, making the pass and moving, or driving with the ball instead of settling for the outside shot. There's like little things I'm like, why are we so jumpy with the shoot? Why are we not a little more composure? And that's very worrying to me at this point. But we also haven't seen like the devil's advocate view of why Struber should say like Van Zier hasn't fully been able to integrate. He had some illness. He got late. Corey Burke on international duty. Lewis Morgan's been injured. Like Daniel Edelman missed preseason due to injury. So like Drew Yearwood's just coming back, played 45 minutes with the twos. So maybe there's hope that like, okay, once he gets all his pieces, he'll be able to play a little more expansive soccer and they'll be able to pass and move. But I'm not seeing it at the moment.
No, I definitely agree. Like you said, I think the defence is definitely not a question at the moment. It's been very solid so far and actually been quite consistent as well. Obviously, Coronel, there was never any doubt of him being a solid selection in goal. And then obviously, both Needlesses have done well so far. Andreas Reyes, I actually really do like as a centre-half. And John Tolkien is John Tolkien. I don't think anyone's going to dislike him apart from every other team in the league near enough. But yeah, like we say, it's going forward, which is the problem. And it's not a case of there's not been enough creative players as well. That we've had Frankie Amaya come in and he's looked a bit ropey here and there. Edelman played all right the weekend, depending. He hasn't actually had that much minutes overall so far. But then it's like you say, Corey Burke was on international duty. Lewis Morgan keeps having this different knock here and there. It's a bit of a shame because like, obviously Dante would really kind of wish he was in straight away, but we've had to do. Ellis Manuel literally loves playing against Charlotte, and literally Charlotte only at the moment. So hopefully, like I did like seeing what he did for the goal, but then is there many other centre halves in the MLS that he's going to push off the ball? How he did, probably not. Is there another 5'6" centre half in world football? I probably don't think there is. So, but
I think he plays up north.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
he's 5'7", right?
Yeah, but like I say, it's even like you say, there's not a clear plan. Like you can see if there were certain movements working, but it's all over the place. Sometimes it goes long, sometimes it goes diagonal, sometimes it goes short, sometimes it's down the wings, and then they try and cross it in, and Manuel's gone over to get the cross, so it's like no one there to be in the box. So. And then he brings on Barlow in like the 75th minute. I love Barlow. He runs around and gives it his all. But for him, he's not like a number 9 and they target him. They always play him behind. He just runs around, chases everyone down. And he never really gets a chance to ball into feet. It's it's not, as you say, it's not a clear pattern. And
Yeah, that the Charlotte game, the subs made no sense to me. I know Harper that well, you can get into the ref that probably should have been a red card for the elbow to the head. And then Harper goes out and like they didn't adjust the formation, so they were still playing Van Zier as in that wide role, which just did not look right at all to anyone. Like it was very awkward. Van Zier did not look comfortable. He's clearly a striker in a two-striker formation.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to make the two-striker formation work because he just spent on a guy who has openly admitted his best role is. And that's gets back to like, is this roster build actually good? Like, there's clearly talent, but are the pieces fitting? Like, do they all fit the puzzle that you need of a complete team, or do you have a lot of square pegs and round holes? And can Struber either mold a player to fit the hole, or will he have to change back to some sort of formation that makes those square pegs fit square holes?
Yeah, I think it's literally as we were just saying. I think the back five, there's no concerns about that at the moment, even though Duncan didn't have the best substitution appearance I've ever seen. Could have been sent off.
That was horrific.
Could have been sent off twice. So lucky enough he's not suspended the next one. But you're looking at it, obviously, like you say, Drew Year was just coming back to play 45 minutes for the twos. He's a very good player getting around the pitch, but it seems like we briefly mentioned it like outside that if you look back a few years, obviously it's always good to look back to the great teams, but a midfielder, Felipe, Dax McCarthy, Sashka had a bit of everything. And I'm looking at the midfield at the moment, and I'm left wanting a bit of. There's good players in there. Don't get me wrong. There's players I really like. Obviously, it doesn't help that Christian Caceres is on international because he's a fantastic player. So we do miss him a bit. But then I'm like, I really like Edelman, but you need an enforcer, and I'm like, I'm not really seeing that. And then I want someone to pick the pass, which should be Frankie Amaya picking the pass, and it's just not working yet for him. But hopefully, with a few minutes in the team, because I know obviously we spoke about when we initially signed him, it was a big transfer, like it had a lot of potential.
He never really lived up to his. He never really. We brought him with a lot of hope, didn't we?
Yeah.
He's never quite lived up to. Not yet. You know, he's still young. He's only 20 when we brought him, I think.
Yeah, no, he's still young. I think there's a player there. Yeah. I don't think he's ever going to be a star. No. He's not going to be a superstar 8-6 in this league. He's going to be a very solid 8-6 in this league. And I think he is a very solid player. He plays his role well, but sometimes he doesn't, the final ball is not there. Or, like, he lives a little bit lacking. He's a little short of stature, so there's not as much, enforcement in kind of the center mid position. But I think him and Caceres pair well, or him and Edelman can pair well. I think they're a little more similar, and I think you kind of ideally want him and Caceres, or Edelman and Caceres. I don't love Caceres as that number 10. It just, I don't think it's his best spot. I think he's better in that kind of holding midfield role. But it's kind of this awkward position, and we were talking about this pre-show, is that this team, and I've talked to a few people now about this team doesn't pass the ball well. Like, it's not even like, oh, it's the system. No, they just don't have guys who are great at passing the ball and playing in like, they can connect passes here or there, but there's no Kaku. There's no Sasha Kljestan, that center midfielder or guy who plays in between the lines who can pick out the pass. Like Luquinhas, I really like him, but he's not that type of 10. No. He's going to dribble at you. Get him the ball on the half turn, and he's going to turn a defender, and he's going to break a line with his ability to turn on the half turn, get going, and drive at a defender dribbling. But he's never going to be the unlock a defense with his pass. He's going to get a cross into someone. Like, he can do that. Yeah. Or he's going to score a nice goal. But even coming over, like, his first couple months definitely convinced people, and I think jaded how we view him. Like, if you look at his stats in Poland, he didn't put up monster numbers. No. He was a connector piece. He wasn't the piece. Yeah. So, like, he came over here, scored goal, and it's like ridiculous goals too. Like, just every goal was a banger. Yeah. Obviously, those aren't sustainable in any way. Like, no, not at all. You're scoring like XG 0.05 goals, and it's like, that's not sustainable. That's not going to keep up. And it didn't keep up. But then people were like, where are the goals? It's like, well, that's not his game.
Yeah.
His game is kind of being the guy who makes the pass that makes the pass, or
Yeah.
makes the dribble
The
that unlocks,
facilitator,
like
yeah.
that opens up. He makes the pass to, like he cuts in and it draws a defender with him. So he knocks it back to Amaya, who plays a pass to the wing, who then gets a cross in that scores. Like
Yeah.
the pass to the pass to the pass. Like not even the hockey assist. So
Yeah. I think the perfect example was, I think it was about the 60th minute, give or take. Put the statistics of passes up on the screen, and I think it was around the 62nd minute, and Rebels had completed the whole team 78 passes. And I was like, you're averaging about 1.1 a minute. Like, I've seen football teams do 30 in about 5 minutes. So that shows you, and obviously people who always watch Red Bulls, they'll be like, they're sitting back. It's not a case of it's always sitting back, because there's a lot of chances to break out and attack, and it's just a misplaced pass. It's a pass that you're expecting to be simple, and it's 5 yards in front, it gets intercepted. 5 yards behind, or they try the spectacular, it don't work. It happens quite on a routine basis, and it doesn't really help.
there isn't a rhythm.
No, that's the thing. It's normally, if you look at most teams who set up a rhythm, especially when you're playing out, you'll be like, right, there's a certain rhythm that's going to happen. You're either going to play it to X or Y. He's going to play it and then have two options, like the old triangle system. When I used to coach, it'd be always try to have two options on. But a lot of the times with Red Bulls, it's one option, and half the time the one option is just going to bounce it back to you anyway, and then you're going to look up. I can't remember how many times I see either Reyes or Neelis. They get the ball off Coronel and they're like, I either play it sideways or I'm going to just lump it.
Yeah.
Which is like you say, it's not sustainable
And
at all.
teams are doing a good job of taking away, like the wings, or taking away the center mids and the pivot.
Yeah.
So sometimes going long isn't a bad idea. It sets up the press, things of that nature. But they're just, when they, like, sometimes it's like, it always seems like the wrong idea is being chosen.
Yes.
Like there was a great clip someone posted on Twitter of, like, they got a turnover and Omir comes through the middle, but Manuel turns the opposite way and tries to dribble three defenders.
Yeah.
It's like, play it to Manuel, play it to Omir, let him drive the ball, and now you have left and right, a winger, a striker. You're running 3v3 at least, or 3v4, and you don't have quite the number advantage, but you're in a better place because you can either, like, someone's either going to have to commit to you, maybe two people commit to you, or you can kind of, people flood in behind you, and that's where you get your numbers advantage. But that's what's frustrating, is because I saw those ideas in preseason, and I'm not seeing them, 5-6 games into the season, so it's a little worrying. But you kind of have to have some faith that, like, they're going to figure this out. The talent is there.
Yeah.
And they like, for better or for worse, at least with away games, they haven't really dropped any bad ones.
No.
Orlando they should have at least got a point out of, but at least they've gotten a point. They're 1-1 at home, so 1 win, 1 draw, so they haven't dropped points at home, but they need, like, that Charlotte game was ripe to be won.
Yes.
And they kind of let off the gas, and they couldn't get that second one. They couldn't, like, take control of the game, and then, like, I would love to see them just start possessing. Get the ball, possess a little bit. You don't have to be 60% possession, but play, like, be at 45 sometimes. Like, it's okay. Yeah. It's like, there's times where draw the other team out a little bit. Let them come and press you, and then go over the top and change the rhythm of the game, so it's not always press, and press some more, or, like, just sit back. Yeah. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more balanced in between. When we press and we do it well, but also, like, how can we control a game a little bit, make the other team chase us? Because when another team chases you, you pass it around them a little bit. And I think when I say we don't have guys who can pass, I think we guys have guys who can do that, like, keep some possession and move the ball side to side and have the other team chase you. Because then when you bring on your subs in the 60th, 70th minute and start pressing again, now the press is more effective. Now you get people passing it to you like you're St. Louis. Like, now things open up because they just chased you for a 20-minute bit where you controlled the game at 60% possession, and now you're going to give them the ball, play it long, and you're going to press them, and now they're tired mentally, physically. And that's how you wear a team down. That's what the March teams are great at. Yeah. Like, they pressed recklessly, but they also knew how to control the game a little bit. And go into their rest periods and then turn it back up on you. I feel like we turn it on and then we turn it off and we never can turn it back on again until it's like too late.
Yeah, I think as well, like especially the good high pressing teams, we're not just seeing obviously from ourselves, but other ones. It's always normally coincides with having a good winger system as well. It's like very in between at the moment. I can't decide whether it's a flat in the middle design of it's narrow or then they're trying to play him a bit further out wide. It's like you mentioned slightly. I don't know. Dante come on and he was kind of playing off the right, but then Barlow come on and he was kind of playing off the left, and you're leaving this massive gaping hole down the middle. And it's not just that up front; it coincides going back into midfield as well. And it's like you say, it's something that can be fixed on the training ground quite easy, and just the application. I think that's the main thing. It's just we know they can do it. It's just applying it into that game situation, and that's why I'm not too worried at the moment because, like I said, there is players there. Like there's no concern. There's no concern for back five for me at all.
Yeah,
It's just
and it's not a surprise we look better with Corey Burke.
No,
because he's a center point.
Yeah.
Like you can play off of him and he's going to he creates havoc. So when we don't have to be as precise and he will win a ball played around chest side and he will win it. And he'll hold on to it and he'll play a layoff. And when he's gone, there isn't someone who's going to do that. That's not Manuel's game. That is definitely not Dante Van Zier's game. Arlo is going to try his best, but that's not his game. So now it's a question of like, are we over relying on Burke, and why didn't we get another one?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't we bring in another player of his game model?
Yeah, I would agree. Like you look at the four options up front, you're looking at Barlow, Dante, and Manuel, very similar type of players. And then you've got Corey Burke just something completely different. And in an ideal world, how I see it is they thought, oh, Corey Burke would be great off the bench, give him that extra life in the last 30 minutes of high pressure, physicality. Whereas actually looking at it, the games he started well and he fits the system so well. It's like you say though, should it have been maybe two players of Burke's-esque, two players of the Dante-esque, and then it gives you that option of you can go two up front, and having two Corey Burkes up front for the system would be crazy because it'd be great. You'd be like, oh, they're pressing from both sides. Whereas Corey Burke, I remember it was running all the way to the left and then all the way over to the. I felt sorry for him by the 60th minute because he looked like he was finished, and obviously then got to go on international duty up over to Jamaica, and it was just like he suits the system well. Has the recruitment been the right for that position? It's going to be one of them only time.
It's more he gives an element that we haven't had. Is that physical striker who can hold up a ball and bring the rest of the team. Because like you can go long, but if it's 1v3, it doesn't help you.
No.
If you win the ball, turn the ball over, and it's 1v3, they have numbers back. They're going to defend. But Corey Burke wins the ball, and he can pick out a pass. He can kind of hold up the ball, or you can fizz it into him, and he's going to control it and out-muscle a player and kind of turn a defender. Like, he has a lot of skills in his bag and just a physicality we haven't had. So I think seeing him and Van Zier hopefully this weekend together, starting, I think he should be back for this weekend.
Yeah.
That should be good. Atlanta's going to come out a little bit, try to play more. They have good players. They have a guy playing for Argentina. Like, that's not going to be an easy game this weekend. But like, we need to find a way. We need to get a point at least away at Atlanta. Ideally 3, just for morale. Like,
definitely. I think as well, there's certain games that can change a season even early on, and if you pick up 3 points there, they're a good team, and a lot of people got eyes on them. Obviously, like you mentioned, certain players who was very much scouted, like on Football Manager a few years ago, and I thought, it's just going to be another bust who's gone to the MLS, scores an absolute weldy of a free kick, and now looks like he might be heading to Europe. Another European-bound Atlanta player. Obviously, they had Miguel Almiron, who's doing very well for Newcastle, but.
Martinez. Martinez would have been Europe banned if not for that injury. He's never locked the exact same.
Wait, was it paid for Torino? Was it Torino before he went out to Atlanta?
Which Martinez are you talking? Joseph or Pity?
Yeah, Joseph.
Oh, okay. I don't think he was ever European. But
I think so.
Yeah, he came from Europe.
I think so.
I don't think he was going back.
No. Okay.
I think he was going to be an MLS lifer. Yeah, no, I think once Joseph came to MLS, he was like, because he's 30. He's old.
He's really 30.
Yeah, he's old.
I didn't know that.
Come over at
I thought he was a young.
He came over at like 25, 26.
Oh, okay.
So he did.
He's already established when he come over.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't going back to Europe, but like, they've had some players who people thought oh, Pity Martinez is going to be Argentina Player of the Year. He's going to do 1-2 years, boom, bounce. So they're kind of turning it around. They had a really bad game. They got smacked by Columbus. But they also were without their best player. So it's kind of like, and Miles Robinson as well, their best defender. So it's hard to know how much you can pull away. Because that's the one thing, beauty of MLS is that the depth is a thing. Like, if you have bad depth, you'll get caught out on an international break.
Oh, yeah.
And a team like Atlanta, how they build with high-priced players, just don't have the money for better players on your supplemental and reserve rosters.
Yeah. I think that's a crazy thing. I think a lot of people don't realise that when they're getting into MLS that they just play through international break. And it's crazy to think that a team can have their
one this year. I think this will be the only international break that's played through. So they I think MLS has to choose.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we'll do it at the beginning of the season. Just get it out. Rip the Band-Aid, get it off, and then we can play on.
But no, I think it's going to be an interesting game, obviously, Sunday for us, but Saturday as it is. Obviously, expecting it's just a good performance. Obviously, like I said, need points from it. It would be a massive boost, not just for morale, but I think just the spirits in general will be so much higher with a very good result there. It's always a place that's had fierce rivalry. Obviously, going back to the playoff games back then, when they had Miguel and Maron, he was diving all over the place. I still never forgiven him for that. I actually did boo him off when he came to the Emirates, and I did shout that. I called him an Atlanta reject. So everyone else looked at me because I was like, I can't stand this guy from the Red Bulls game. And everyone's like, what are you getting on about? I'll tell you later. But
long story.
Yeah, I was like, long story. Just watch the highlights and you'll see what I mean. But no, it's been a bit of a good game over the last few years. Obviously, they've slightly dropped off over last season, but it's always a good game, especially when we go there. The only thing I can't stand when you go there is you can't see the touchline on the near side. It's not the best camera, else it is an NFL stadium.
Years ago, also, when we had. We always Liverpool Atlanta always used to be on Free Sports Plus.
Oh yeah.
You always got the commentators.
Oh, they're actual
and
local.
Their fans. Remember that fan, that horn.
Oh.
That bloody horn. So glad we don't have that anymore on Apple TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have they announced who the commentary is?
Not that I've seen yet, no. But no, I'm looking forward to obviously the Saturday's game. Obviously, it depends on the starting 11. It's very hard to call starting 11s at the moment. Obviously, we're hoping to see Dante. I'm really hoping to see him start soon. He obviously played very well the game. He scored the winner, and then come off the bench. It didn't work in that system, but hopefully see him as a true out and out 9. But looking at the team, it's always going to be a close game with Atlanta. It's never. Obviously, I know they've had certain results not go their way with missing players, but it's going to be a close game. I don't know how you feel ahead of the game Saturday.
I agree completely. I think we do have a quite good record down in Atlanta, though. Not too bad record. It's not going to be easy. I don't think any game in Atlanta is ever easy. No road game in MLS is easy. I thought we even go far. No game in MLS is easy.
Not anymore.
The days of bargain basement teams are gone. I think. I agree with everything you just said. Need good performance. We need to pick something up.
Yeah.
Obviously, a win is great, but a very point is a valuable point at Atlanta. I think it probably will be a draw. I hope to be wrong.
We need to score as well.
I can see a score draw with some. I can see it being one of the piece, to be honest.
So the announcers did come out. It's
yeah.
Keith Costin and Maurice Adu, so solid top tier partnership.
Yeah,
it was nice having Kanji for the Columbus game. That was fun. That's the one game I didn't watch, so don't know why I'm saying it was fun. But I know
it's when you find out you had a really bad game.
No, I was going to say, talking about commentators, actually the weekend, Lloyd Sam, I actually very enjoyed him. He gave something different on commentary.
Yeah, I said this on Twitter. I was like, watching a game with Lloyd Sam is like watching it. Like, he brings insight. It's not like he's just saying stuff. He has insightful commentary.
Yeah.
But it's also just like watching a game on the couch with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, nice touch. That's a nice touch. That's a good turn by him. Like, But that's what I do when I watch a game. I'm like, oh, that's a ball. Good ball. Good touch. So it's a nice combination of like, you give some insight, some tactical stuff, some insight as a player, but also he kind of brings a little more rawness of like, he just reacts to things like a normal person does, and I love it. Yeah. Like, he's such a different laid back style, and it's nice to have something that's a little more raw, a little more about like what's physically happening on the field, and less about like, okay, I come into this game and I have these three narratives that this is what I'm going to talk about for every like situation. I'm going to tie back to, oh, they can't score, or this thing or that thing. So it's nice to have a little more of a raw game experience. So I love Lloyd. I really glad he's part of it, and I hope he does more Red Bull games. It would be great.
100% agree. I think, that's like I say, it's something completely different. He's not really seen much on any platform that I've watched on, and I really do hope to see him in more games. Obviously, as well, it was like he don't mind having a joke as well during commentary. Some people on commentary, not even just MLS, but like for the Premier League, I think they're so got to be everything correct. It's got to be everything by all. You can't have a joke. You can't have a laugh. That it brought a very good insight, and actually, I really do hope to see him on. And that's another good thing about Apple TV as well, that I think they are picked so far by what I've seen. They've picked good staff. Obviously, anyone from NYCFC, I could not care less what you say about all the RBNY on Apple TV.
It's so funny,
But it's a case of you've got Sasha Klesch then, all right, he's linked with the Rebels, but he went to Orlando, he went to LA. Obviously, played a long bit in Europe as well. Bradley Wright, I'll give you Bradley Wright Phillips because he's a legend, and that actually ties in with something coming up. But obviously, talking with you, Eric, about the game Saturday, it's going to be a tricky game, always is there. But I think the main focus is obviously getting a point, but scoring as well, and just getting a bit more fluidity in the attack.
Yeah, we need to see something more.
Yeah,
there has to be something more. What we see, like, I don't expect them to just come out and play tiki-taka. Like, we're going to still press. It's going to be the same, but there needs to be a little more fluidity. I just need to see ideas. Yeah. I don't need to see execution fully. I just need to see ideas coming. Like, okay, here's a way we're getting a better setup in the box of put the cross in and there's two or three runners. Or, we pulled it back, like good pullback crosses. Or, we're going to play direct and we're going to look to isolate one of their center backs and thread balls in behind them or thread the ball over the top. Like, I need to see better ideas because last game you look at the pass charts and nothing was connected. There was no it was like a little uncompleted octagon. Like there were lines across the back, a couple lines vertical, and then nothing in the middle. Like it was but it didn't even connect. Like the striker, Manuel didn't connect to Harper. Like there was no line there. So that means like they didn't even complete 5 passes. Yeah. So like I need to just see more fluidity, connecting, and better just ideas. If the ideas are there, I'll give grace. But if the ideas aren't there, that's where I start to I'm going to go full panic mode. I won't be watching this game live. I may download it and watch it on the plane on my flight home Monday. That may be a good idea. Could be a bad idea.
Yeah, could be a long flight.
It's an 8-hour flight, so I'll have Ted Lasso, and then I'll go into the Red Bulls, or maybe I'll do the vice versa to get my hopes up. I'll know the result, obviously, but when I really go to watch it, the breakdown, or if it's just crap, I may not watch it at all. You never know. But I'm hoping to see ideas. That's what I want to see. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. But I want ideas, something that gets me going. Like, okay, there's something. They're cooking with something here. Yeah. It's not bland chicken. Yeah, right now, what we got is bland chicken.
Yeah, get some seasoning.
We need some seasoning. Yeah.
But I've got to say, the last thing, obviously, for gaming, obviously, we do love a prediction, even though they're never right. Start with you, Luke, because I'm still thinking in my head of my predictions. I'm going to put you on the spot. Score prediction, please.
Go 1-1.
Fair enough. I think it's. I don't know why. I think it's going to be a 2-1er. I've just decided what I'm going to be confident. I'm going to say Red Bulls 2-1. I just got a feeling our defense is going to do as well again. I fancy a Sean Nealis goal this weekend. But over to you, Eric. I don't know what you think. I think it's going to be quite a close game.
2-2.
Yeah.
I think we maybe get out and give up a late one or something, unfortunately. But
very Red Bulls.
Yeah, that's something very Red Bully. I think winning on the road is always hard. So
I was saying that's so Metro.
Yeah, we're going to be 2-2 is what I'm going to go with.
So
GA Cup starts though. That's where my attention's going to be. Yep. The youth events are happening. The U14s are going to Dubai. The U15s are going to Florida. U17s are going to Florida, but less said about that team, the better. But the U15, U14, just since the academy is where I focus most of my interest, at least media interest. there's a lot of talent in those 08, 09 groups. Like, I got to see them play inferior opponents last time I was home, and it was like some of these 13-year, I don't even know what a 09 is. I don't like to think about it. I just look at the date. Some of these 09s playing up with the 15s, they were good. Like, there's talent there. There's some of the 08s too. Like, they're starting to figure out their player profile, the Red Bulls, at the academy level, which is really cool to see, is that they know what works for them. It's like, if you think, what do you think about a Red Bull striker? You think Timo Werner, Erling Haaland, Patson Daka, like, they're not, even Dante Van Zier fits that kind of Patson Daka mold. They're going to be fast. They're going to look to get in behind. Are they going to be overly technical? No. Are they going to be dribblers? No. But they're going to be finishers in the box. They're going to know how to make smart runs. And you're starting to see that profile player repeat, like, multiple of those players coming through who fit that, like, this is what, from Europe to America, this is what a Red Bull player looks like. Especially at, like, certain positions. Center mid, you see it combative, can pass, has good ideas. Like, I think center mid, obviously they lost Nate Worth. That's unfortunate. But, like, they're now doing solidarity payments. So if he gets sold, Red Bull will get some money. Like, if he has multiple sales, Red Bull could get some money. So there's things like that, and they still have his rights. If it doesn't work out in USL, or it doesn't even work out in Europe, they could get him back. So, like, and they still have good players. Davi Alexander, really good center back prospects. Those center backs are tough. Goalkeeping, they have two solid prospects. Aiden Stokes, 08, probably the best 08 goalkeeper in America right now. He could be on that. It's early. I don't want to jump ahead. But it could be on that, like Gaga Slonina, Chris Brady, guys from Chicago who are, like, well advanced for their age. He's good size too. So he was in preseason, whole preseason with the first team. Good kid. They're really high on him. So, like, and 08, that's young. Especially for a goalkeeper. Like, so, like, there's some talent in the academy that I think in the next, not this season, I don't think we'll see many matriculate to Red Bull 2. Next season, second year of MLS Pro, then we'll see some real of the gems, some of these 08s, maybe some of the 09s matriculate up to.
We want to come through.
I was going to say, it ties in, but, like, especially there's a load of examples that we can give of the progression from academy into RBNY 2 and then into the first team. And it just gives you that bit of hope as well, because you always have that time for a player that has been in since day one. They know what it means to be, and then they work up. You see it a lot, obviously. I see a lot of Arsenal. I watch, like, the under 18 youth teams. I watch them progress into, like, the under 21s, into the first team, and it's, you see them, and then you just fall in love with a bit more. That you watch them that bit closer, you progress, and then it's even like, for example, Tyler Adams. Now it's a shame that he's actually just picked up a hamstring injury, and his timeline of his return's a bit shady, because I was actually looking forward to it. It's Arsenal Leeds this weekend. I was hoping originally I thought, this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be Tyler Adams and Jesse Marsh, and now it's going to be neither. So it's even better.
Is still hanging around?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, he's still hanging around.
Yeah, I remember when he was actually at Man U and he come to Arsenal, and I was just staring at him thinking, well done, my friend, how you've got this.
That man deserves a green.
He was standing next to Ronaldo.
Before that, he deserved a green.
I was going to say,
service is the, like, you know, the, like, Paul Rudd, like, look at us. Look at that. How do you think who would have thought we got here? That's him. Like, anytime you see him on the bench, it's like, look at him. Like, who would have thought it? Like,
you're 40, we got sacked for being too bad for a ball stand.
Look at you. 2 years, 2 Premier League assistant jobs.
Yep.
And your last job was you were fired after 8 games at Toronto.
After we lost 7-1 with DC?
Yeah.
We're losing 7-1 to DC.
And a bad DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, obviously we're very early in the season, but if you had to pick one or two performers so far, you say is your not even the best performers, but the players that you've most enjoyed watching so far. Yeah, I can take it if you want.
I can start. It's on just Reyes.
You do.
I've got mine ready, so I'll let you
Reyes. 100%. He's been fantastic. Like, own goal aside from this weekend, like,
which he had to make a play on that ball.
Yeah, I almost thought the striker might have been offsides, but even if DR would have seen that and Reyes, it would have been involved in play. Like, Reyes doesn't make that if he's not there. Yeah. So I think if he was offsides, they would have called it back. So yeah, but Andres Reyes, like he's been fantastic and he's been key. Like Neos has been good, but like Neos has been Neos. Like it's the same performance week in week out, which is great. But Reyes is a special player.
Yeah, I was going to say I totally agree. But my two favourite players have been John Tolkien, just because I love John Tolkien. But Reyes, performance-wise, you can see a maturity in his game now. Whereas I remember the first quite a few games he was playing, he was rash, jumping in quite a bit now, but he's really reads the game well. He sets up a good position, and like we say, there's other factors involved in goal, but he's got to make a play on that. And 9 times out of 10, he gets his foot on it, it goes near post, or he blocks it, keeper picks it up. It's just that one time. You can't blame him.
And I think that was probably his worst game all season.
Yeah,
like he made some bad tackles where like
jumped in a bit.
Like he didn't have to shoulder barge a guy here and give away a foul, like certain things. But like overall, he's been like our record's not been great, but our record's much worse if he's not there.
Oh, 100%.
Even if it's Aaron Long. Like I've said this on every podcast I've been in, I think he's a better fit for what we do than Aaron Long is.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Long is a great defender, but his first step is not Andres Reyes' first step towards the ball.
Yeah.
It's quite a good time to go on our next segment.
Yeah, but like we said, I think Reyes has had a great season so far. But we will move on to our next segment. And obviously, you took the glory the first week of Up in the Rafters. It's obviously our own take on retiring someone's jersey. And obviously, the first inductee was Dax McCarty, not because of any other reason, but he's your favourite player of all time. So I've taken the glory of this week, and there's only one player for me. He's my favourite Ripples player of all time, obviously number 99, who we see on Apple every week, and I can't stop looking at the geezer. But Bradley Wright Phillips, obviously, I was going to say Wright Phillips, but someone out there probably make the joke, is it Sean Wright Phillips? No, Bradley. I don't think I even have to say anything about this guy because
his number's already up in the rafters.
Yeah,
it's meant to be on that Rafters, but he's not done the
yeah, I do apologise. I haven't made the graphic yet for that, but was a privilege to watch him every single game. Funny enough, really, like where he played some of his career was literally 20 minutes down that way from where we're recording this at Charlton. Obviously, you was there recently as well, but what a player. I think it was a special attachment, obviously, coming from England as well for us. So obviously, we've had Brits over there, but one of the greatest of all time to be a Brit. Obviously, didn't finish his MLS career at the Red Bulls. Technically.
It's the very American. Do they do that over here in the UK where it's like sign with a club for one day to retire?
No. Over here, it's just see you later. But no, I think Bradley was one of a kind, and there's a reason why he had the stats that he did, and obviously started with Henry over and then just made that position himself. And we didn't have the issues of goals when he was in the team.
No.
I'd have to say, if ever we're going to build a statue at the Red Bull Arena, which I think we're going to, it's got to be Bradley Wright Phillips, surely. I don't think I will do.
I want him where
it's got to be him.
Yeah, no. I think everyone has agreed that like if there's ever a statue of a player, like esque of the Henry statue at Arsenal, it has to be BWP heel click. Like, he won 3 shields.
Yep.
Like no one else has done that.
I think also what was so good about BWP was Henry. We all knew Henry was a great player. We all knew that, but I think Bradley came with a lot to prove. MLS. He didn't have a fantastic career in England.
Bradley was such an interesting. I remember the Houston game playoffs. Like he scored a goal, and it was like, oh, okay, this player's interesting. I don't know if he'll be back next year. Yeah, comes back and then 27 goals, 28 goals, like ridiculous. Like no one thought that.
No.
And then you had Henry. Oh, he should have had 40.
Yeah,
but no, he's the GOAT. I love him. Like my favorite goal of his is always the goal against New England. I think we were down a man. Miazga got a red card. I think I'm pretty sure I was at that game with my dad, and we were sitting up in the corner seats we always sat in on that side, on the southward side, on the press box side. So up in that corner, and seeing him cut that ball back, hard cut, send the defender, curling left foot, weak foot, side netting. It was like you don't see because Bradley didn't score those goals all the time. No. If it was in the box, and it wasn't in the box. It wasn't like outside the 18 like screamer, but it was just like perfectly placed, got us the win. Like needed that in that game. That's my favorite Bradley Wright Phillips moment.
Oh yeah, like I say, obviously the perfect connection for us. So I'm obviously coming from England as well, but obviously UK, but just going over and dominating the league how he did, and people was scared to play against him because they knew they would try and stop him, couldn't stop him, And obviously, I think the true testament of just how good he was is now strikers come into the league and they're compared to Bradley Wright Phillips. That's when you know you've hit a certain status in football. When people come into the league and is he going to be as good as BWP? And it's not just Red Bulls. It's the same as Martinez. It was always Martinez versus Wright Phillips, and you get people coming in. Even now, they're like, "Oh, we need a BWP." You won't get another BWP. But you find someone new version, like a newer version. You've got to do it. But that's why there will be a graphic for next episode. I've said it on camera now, so there better be a graphic. But no, obviously BWP number 99. It's had to be done, not just from an English perspective, but Rebel this, and definitely that heel tap. I can still see him celebrating all the times. The amount of times I tried it and then he fell over doing it. It's not as easy as it looks. I can tell you that.
I tried today when I got a darts, and my work colleague, I got a triple 17-1 game. My work colleague was like, "That's the most athletic I've ever seen you be." So it's a lot to like
doing the BWP. And lucky enough, I actually have got his jersey on today. But like I say, it was always a privilege to watch him, and no doubt there'll be the next episode. There'll be another one up in the rafters. There's quite a few players. Sadly, I don't think his brother will be making the rafters, but
I think maybe an episode when we get to our
1,000
episode.
That one. There was that one. The goal against the sister was the assist against Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I think
I'm not actually sure he's going to do the nets and that tier. I haven't got one on the top of my head.
Well, that would be there's a few that come to my mind. There's a certain player that comes to my mind at the moment. But like we say, it's going to be get the graphic done of that one as well. But no, like we say, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think it is midnight for us again. It's 7:30 Eastern time. I actually just called it Eastern time now, and then I work out, even though the clocks have now changed. So rather than 11:30 kickoff, it's now 12:30. And for anyone who's an F1 fan out there, will know about 4 hours after the game is the Australian Grand Prix. So I might just watch. Hopefully, there's a game on the West Coast after that I can watch and just take me through to the F1. But
there will be.
Yeah,
there will be. Yeah.
So, and the perfect thing with Apple TV, all I have to do is click.
See, that's what I do. I do because I'm on the West Coast usually.
Yeah.
Red Bull 4:30 to 7:30, something like that, or 6:30, 2 hours. MLS 360 for the West Coast games with dinner.
Yeah.
And then if I want to tap into a West Coast game and fully watch, I'll do it. If not, I'll go out, live my life. But what I can do though, in one day I need to do it. Red Bull game, San Jose game, same day. It's possible. We'll do it one day.
We look forward to seeing it. But like we say, it's going to be a very good game. Saturday, we look forward. Obviously, there'll be a few games in between this and the next one, but we do look forward to the next one. But Eric, thank you ever so much for joining us over here.
Thank you for having me.
Mate, so we'll have a fan section of the Rafters. You can go up there as well. So we'll get the number of your choice after this one, and that'll be another graphic. So I've just given myself more work than actually anything. But like I say, we do look forward to covering the game again on Saturday. Well, I'd most likely be covering the game. You'll probably be sleeping and counting the sheep. So until next time, from me, Eric and Luke, thank you ever so much for joining us, and please stay safe and go on your Red Bulls. Wow. My back was based on. My back was bad.